All right, so what we're gonna do today is give an example of how we work it and what we do when the body doesn't respond, or when the body responds is what we would perceive as more restrictive when we introduce something new in rehab. So specifically here I have just a general timeline that I'm gonna walk through for how these things happened for this particular athlete. So his surgery date was July 3rd of this year. He got his cast off July 23rd, and this was a TJ surgery. So cast off the 23rd, we started working together on the 25th, and we can see like 7:31 he had full range. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up on, this was July 31st where his range is. So here we can see him pulsing up in flexion, and then there we can see him pulsing in extension. So this is like 6 days after we started work. And you can see, we can see he's able to touch his bicep fully there, and then extension he's got full range as well. So pretty early on, I mean, he'd had that was already basically a month, not quite a month after surgery date, but we could see that he had full range. He was able to express that there. Before that, like a couple days before that, it was close, wasn't quite all the way there, but there was really the first day we were like, okay, that is full range, and you look like you're accessing it easily there, and his feedback was good as well. August 2nd, so this would be 2 days later, the first day we did some external resistance. His feedback was sore and a bit more limited. So I can go ahead and show you, these are the exercises that we had to do for that external resistance. So all I'm having to do here is, he's got his rope, so like what we use for an impulse rope, he's got it attached, and then we're doing a form of like manual resistance. So basically, he's just putting as much force and weight into those moves as he feels good or as he feels comfortable with. So we had a tricep extension there. Here he's got a bicep curl. So you can weight behind him. He's just like leaning into it a little bit and adding whatever force he feels like he can handle. And then this is also an overhead tricep move. So again, hitting that tricep in 2 different positions. Here, same thing. Leaning into that rope and providing a little bit of resistance for himself there. But his feedback on that is here. So we can see here from yesterday, definitely pretty sore for the manual resistance stuff. I think we went a little too heavy the first couple sets, but I did feel good, and there was no pain until the final set. Definitely having more trouble with any sort of pronation rather than supination. Overall, this is probably the sorest I've been. So I guess I should take it easy with the elbow moves, but how easy should I take it? So he had a few questions there in regards to like, okay, this is the response that my body's having. Like it felt good doing them until the end, and maybe I pushed a little too far. This is the response, and then he has questions on like, how do I kind of work with how my body's responding? So from that point, what I want to show is a little bit of the programming. So this is like a picture of the actual programming that we went through. So the date that we did that was the 1st, which is right here. So for me, it's called upper body pulse isos plus manual resistance. So that's the day where we did that, where he was going through those moves. Day after, he didn't feel super great. Or it's not that he didn't feel super great, but he just kind of had some questions on how his body was responding. So you can see the day after that, we have the lower body day. Secondary session, we did some joint moves there. And then what I want to walk through is like the 3rd and the 4th. So the 3rd, we did joint holds into moves. So that's like, let's say you take let's say we take a simple elbow move. We're going to start with the hold, right, where we're just like working into more and more range. And then after that, we're going to finish up with moves. So we're going to do that for all the upper body joint holds and joint moves. So we did that for the day. Sunday, we took it a little bit easy, 60 to 90 seconds of moves for joint moves. And then this is the week after. And I want to show this because like this is how I handle what happens when your body has that type of response. So this is one example of it, right? Because before we had started to load it a little bit, or we were going to start loading a little bit more, but his body had the response, he had that question, so now we're going to back off a little bit. So Monday we have session repeat twice, upper body joint moves. Tuesday session repeat twice, again upper body joint moves. Wednesday we did some lower half work. I believe we had completely off from the upper on that day. And then Thursday, which is here, you can see session repeat twice, again upper body joint moves. And then Friday we had some lower half work. Saturday, spinal hygiene, upper body joint moves, or upper body joint holds. And then Sunday we had some work that wasn't really involved with the arm. So basically like this whole week after that initial response, we pretty much did full on joint moves. And so from that point, here's where he was at on the 7th. So this is just the feedback that he provided on the 7th. Remember, the day that we initially did that manual resistance was the 2nd, so this is 5 days after, and it's like basically middle middle end of the week where we backed off a lot and did just the joint moves. Feedback was, I feel like extension could have been a little bit better, felt a little different, but flexion improved a lot. I think it's the best it's ever been. And then on the 7th, this was yesterday's, definitely back to where I was before, if not even better than before. Really felt it loosen up. So this is like the first day where he kind of felt it loosen up, and here's where he's at there, doing his one-way elbow joint move, and then the second one-way elbow here. And we can see full range, fully returned, and he's also feeling good with that. So that was on the 7th. After we started to back off on the 2nd there, and then I have labeled here like 2nd through the 22nd, back off joint moves, back off into more loading, and then more reintroduction into loading. So I want to go through the actual programming there just to kind of show you what that looked like a little bit. And let me pause it. So this is the for the 12th through the 18th. Remember the feedback that he gave that it was feeling better was on the 7th, and so this is that week after. So we can see here on Monday we're going through some more a little bit more holds. So we're going bear crawl hold, dip top hold, hang, push up hold above the ground. So those are, if you think of like joint moves, there's no external resistance. The manual resistance, which is the first thing that we did, where we had that response, was on the 2nd. Now on the 12th, we're starting to reintroduce a little bit of external resistance again through the form of these holds, right? Now I've specified here, like in the programming, in the description of it, like make sure we're, hang, we're going to start with box beneath your feet. Bear crawl hold, start with your knees on the ground if you need to. Dip top hold, box beneath your feet. Push up hold above the ground, like elevate your hands if you have to. So all these, we're regressing. We're starting to reintroduce the external load, but we're regressing enough where he can do it at a level that his body's going to respond well to. And so we do that. We have lower body day the next day. Joint moves to really lock that in on Wednesday, or to kind of like return back to that a little bit. And then on Thursday the 15th, you can see we have some impulses. So I believe this is the first time that we introduced some impulses. And what I want to show actually is like this. So this is kind of general layout of how we reintroduce that back in. And then if we go back to my timeline here, on the 22nd, we have impulses, and he mentioned full output. So let me go. So this would be the week after, and we did impulses again on the 22nd, which is the week after of that 15th. So, and here's his feedback with impulses on basically every impulse. I was able to do them with full force and no pain. Through watching the video, I feel like I could have had a little more control over the movements, but it was so free being able to go ham without worrying about any pain. Overhead forward impulse I had the most trouble with. Still was able to go about 40% or 80% effort. Then felt slight discomfort with the anterior and lateral impulses, but was still able to put in just under 100% effort on them. After it was all said and done, my arm felt like it went through the workout of a lifetime. Couldn't even drink from my water bottle without my hand shaking like crazy. So I've heard that before from impulses. When we do a lot of them, like sometimes the hand is shaking a little bit. But here is the video of the actual moves of the impulse. So you can see there's a bicep, basically a bicep curl impulse, and he's able to go pretty much full intent there. And then tricep impulse, as you mentioned, he's able to go full intent there. Which is pretty dope, because that's like the second, just 20 days before is when we first introduced some more external load type of work, and then 20 days later he's able to do those with high intent. Even though there's like in between, there's some stuff where his body didn't respond as well. Like that's part of rehab is navigating that, right? And final piece on the 29th, which is a week after that. Last one that I want to highlight, and that was literally 2 days ago, where we did some rope drop catches. Here's his feedback: 50 pounds for the bicep drop catch, which I'll show here in a second, and I did end up adding 5-pound plates to a barbell for a tricep drop catch. 40 pounds for shoulder press. Notes like, feels like I'm flying through this, and then just a picture of something that he has in the gym. But here's the video of those. So that's the bicep rope drop catch, and then we'll go into the tricep where he's doing, he mentioned there's not 5-pound plates on this, but he did mention he's able to add 5-pound plates to the barbell drop catches. So that's a look at the general progression that we walked through for him, and how we handled what popped up when his body didn't respond exactly the way that he wanted to, or exactly the way that we would want that to respond. And those are how we kind of like back off and then work back into it and progress from there.